Well, hello. It's let's see. It's about just after 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon. It is officially the end of my first week here in the Oregon Legislature. Now, first of all, I want to kind of explain what this is going to be every week. Uh, this isn't the Bill Post radio show. This is Representative Bill Post giving you what I felt like I wanted to do was let you live vicariously through me, because I don't think any legislator that I know of or remember has ever done a personal video like this, letting you know what is it like to be a legislator. Now, obviously, I don't know very much about it yet. I'm just learning, and I'm going to explain a little bit about what went on this week. But this is what I'm going to try to do every Friday. I can't promise you, but I'm going to try every Friday to do a wrap up of the week of what it was like this week to be a state legislator, and just give you a little feel for what it's like to be in this building. I'm going to tell you right now. Again, I want to make sure you're clear. It's not the Bill Post radio show. It's not. It's not going to be my commentary for the most part. It's so you know what? It may be as boring as watching paint dry on the wall. But if this kind of thing excites you, then you might stick around and watch this. I'll try to keep them fairly brief and to the point, but I just kind of want to give you a feeling of what's it like to be in this building. So the first thing I want to point out to you is something I'm going to bring a little closer to the camera here, and that is this. I'm not getting a good picture of it, but anyway, you see this little pin right here. I was struck by this. This pin says State Representative 78th Legislative Assembly. They gave that to us on the day that we were sworn in, which was this past Monday. And being a history person, 78th, of course, just for those of you who don't know, Oregon has always had legislative sessions every 2 years, up until the recent short sessions that are held in the even numbered years. So 78 would represent the 78th Assembly, but also it represents 156 years, basically. And that alone was stunning enough for me. Wow, 156 years of history. Oregon's history. Statehood in 1859, right? But the one thing that really got me, and I'm telling you, talk about humbling, is when I thought to myself, there's 90 of us in this building. There are 30 senators and 60 state representatives. And we all have these pins. Big deal, you say. You know what humbles me about it? Rough math. If everybody got one of these pins that's ever been in the state legislature in Oregon, there's less than 7,800 people in the entire history of the state of Oregon that have worn this pin. The magnitude of that hit me Monday night, I think it was. And I was like, wow, somebody thought enough of me to put me here? Wow. So I thank you. If you voted for me, I thank you. If you live in my district, I thank you. If you just supported me in some way, I thank you. Whatever it was, because I'm humbled. I'm humbled to be here and to serve you and to serve the state of Oregon. Okay, so enough about that. I got mushy. By the way, if you saw the picture the other day of me during the open ceremonies, it was hard for me. If you know me, I'm pretty patriotic, and I'm also pretty mushy at times. And while we were just before we got sworn in, there was an orchestra, a small band from one of the high schools, and they were up above in the gallery playing "America the Beautiful," and I was standing at full attention, but I was glancing around, looking at things around me, and hearing that music and that song, "America the Beautiful," and what happened was I was overcome with emotion, and I started to cry. And I never cried. I cried twice in my life. I cried at Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, when Spock died. And I think I cried when Captain Kirk died in Star Trek Generations. So I'm an emotional guy, but I don't cry very often. That brought me to tears. And the Statesman Journal caught me going like this, wiping the tear. And anyway, it was a big moment. Here's what I want to sum up for this week, basically, because this week was the legislature is not in session. We don't go into session until February 2nd. But this week was what's called organizational days after the opening ceremonies, and a lot of it was training. just mandatory stature that any state worker has to go through. Any state employee would have to go through the same training. So if you work at any state agency, you have to go through the same training every year. So no, they weren't brainwashing me. Somebody asked me, were they brainwashing you? No, they weren't brainwashing me. I got the same thing that every other state employee gets because I'm now a state employee. I work for you. A couple of neat things happened. This, if you can see that, is a little journal. And on the front, it's embossed Bill Post HD 25, and it has the state of Oregon seal down here. And it has a neat little flap over it, and you open it up, and it's basically a journal. And I decided to begin writing every day, at least a line or two about how that day went. And so here we'll sum up this week, basically. It goes like this. January 12th, 2015, opening day. I am almost overwhelmed by the history and the pomp of this day. I am in awe of the of the privilege of being in this place. It was so wonderful to have my family and my two very best friends with me today. We took a lot of pictures, including all the House Republicans on the steps and all of the House members. I ended the day listening to Obi from our clerk's office read, I believe it was close to 800 bills. He speed reads them. It's pretty amazing to listen to him do that. The next day, January 13th, felt like a fire hose was directed my way. Lots of training on lots of things. I am surrounded by lots of very smart people, and I am learning all that I can. I ended the day reading all of the pre-session House bills. Then I sat and I looked out this window and just said, wow. And then the 14th was more training, but today felt just like I was really a legislator. I had constituents and lobbyists and friends visiting me here in my office, asking me questions and wanting to tell me about a specific bill. I really felt like a lawmaker today. And then January 15th was House and Senate GOP Republican caucuses got together for a retreat. We learned a lot about each other, and I'm learning to make some friends. I mean, that's pretty simple stuff, I know, but that's what it was. And so that was what this week was all about. When I say the bills, if you can see this green, this thing is pretty thick. These are all the pre-session filed bills just in the House. I want to point out some things that I like I said, this is not, I'm not going to do commentary, but by golly, I can't miss something like this that you need to know about that's coming your way. I need you to understand the mathematics here. In the Senate, there's 18 Democrats and 12 Republicans. That's a supermajority. The Senate Republicans can't stop anything. I need that to sink in so you understand that elections have consequences. Here in the House, we're a little bit better. It's 35-25. They need one Republican to increase any taxes. So any taxes that the Democrats want to increase, they're going to need one of us. I'm feeling pretty confident that this 25 over here are going to lock up and say no. I feel really good about that. I really do. But here are just some things that could come your way. And I'm trying not to be depressing and pessimistic, but I'm a realist. You need to understand there's some bad stuff coming our way. There are 8 bills that are relating to, I would call them hashtag Ferguson. All of these have something to do with police interacting with people, with, let me read something like this. Requires Oregon Criminal Justice Commission to establish independent procedures for receiving and recording profiling complaints. This all came out of Ferguson. Then you have several different bills on raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Some are in steps, some are just bam, 15. What I did was I went through this whole thing, nearly 800 bills, and I put little circles by the ones that I thought were pretty good and X's by the ones that I thought were pretty bad. I want to give you just a quick review. I know that a lot of people are concerned about gun bills. There are some gun bills. Most of those are going to emanate from the Senate, not as many from the House, but just be ready for those. Let's see. Here's one that we should be concerned about, House Bill 2271. introduced, here's what it says: converts voluntary pre-mile road usage charge program limited to 5,000 motor vehicles to mandatory program requiring persons operating certain high mileage vehicles to pay per mile road usage charge or flat annual road usage charge. You just went from voluntary to mandatory. That was HB 2271. Let's see. Sorry, there's so many. I'm trying I tried to circle ones that I thought that I would tell you about this first day. Here's a gun one. Provides that active and honorably retired law enforcement officers may possess firearms or other dangerous weapons in public buildings. Well, that's a good one. Here's another one. Allows operators of motorcycles and mopeds to travel on shoulder of highway during traffic jams or slowdowns. I bring that one up because, like, what? Here's increase cigarette tax, HB 2555, increase cigarette tax. That's all it says. Let's see, what else do we have? A lot of the tax bills are coming out of the Senate. Allows a person of 16 years of age to register to vote. Do you want your 16-year-old voting? That is House Bill 2604. 2604. Let's see. Where else are we? Where else are we? I'm sorry, this is not exciting, riveting stuff like I said. Here's the one basically that says if you're out in the farmlands, out in the ranch country, you can't have your dog in the back of the truck. Really? That's something that we should be concerned about? I can't find it here in front of me right now. I know it's here, but there's actually a bill that would prohibit sex with animals. I thought that was already something I mean, seriously, we need to have a law about that? I mean, I'm not a big fan of people having sex with animals, but do we really need to write a law about that? Here's something that you should be very concerned with. HJR 8, House Joint Resolution 8, proposes amendment to Oregon Constitution to repeal individual income tax surplus refund kicker. This would refer it back to the voters. And you might say, well, that's great, let it go to the voters, but we've already voted on that. I want my kicker back. I don't know about you. And here's another one. HJR 14 proposes amendment to Oregon Constitution directing Legislative Assembly, that's us, to adopt sales tax at a rate of 5%. This is just some highlights, lowlights. There's a lot more coming your way, and I just need you to be ready. You don't need to pound we, the Republicans. We've talked. We're going to say no. You need to get a hold of, if you live in a district that has a Democrat, you need to get a hold of them. You need to tell them that's not what we wanted. Now, or the other thing is you could just sit back and say, let this all happen and perhaps somebody will wake up one day. But again, I didn't want to turn this into a commentary thing. I just wanted you to know there's some things that are coming your way. Otherwise, what is it like to be a legislator? Well, I don't really know until February 2nd. I got a little taste of it this week. And the next 2 weeks basically are a recess in preparation. I have stacks of papers here that I need to read. I've almost 100% kept my promise of no bills bill. I do have one bill to help a local business, and I'm considering a second bill that would allow CHL reciprocity. In other words, people from other states could carry here if they have a CHL from another state here in Oregon. Those are the only two that I'm working on. I promised I wouldn't come in here and write a bunch of bills. I'm not going to. I have co-sponsored some bills. All of them have to do with helping small businesses or stopping, taking away of your liberties and my liberties, and also protecting the unborn. So those are things I've signed on as co-sponsors, but I have not sponsored. I have two bills, one for sure and one maybe. And that's it. So what I'm mainly doing is I want to be here for you. So I want to tell you how to get a hold of me here. My new email address is repbill@billpost.us. That's repbill@billpost.us. You can call my office here, 503-986-1425. 503-986-1425. If you're not already following me on Facebook and Twitter, please do, because I'll post these videos and I'm constantly posting stories and keeping you informed as much as I possibly can. If nothing else, I'm going to use the nearly 40 years of radio experience that I have now. I'm going to use that to communicate. And if I'm the only one that does it, I'm the only one that does it. But I'm going to try to communicate to you as often as I possibly can. And these little videos will be part of that. So there you go. I hope that wasn't as boring as paint drying on the wall. I hope that was a little bit more exciting. But I want to tell you this. I want to give you a little shot of my view. Hopefully you can see this. So I'm going to try to grab the camera here and move it a little bit. Hopefully you can see that. That's my office. There's some of the, I haven't finished hanging everything on the walls, but that's what it looks like. It's pretty cool. It's pretty humbling. It's wow. All right. Anyway, I think that's all I'm going to do for this week. It's been enough of your time. But thank you so much again. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great weekend, and I hope that we can talk again next Friday.